Right guys, here I am. No more about, will his knee stand the test? No more about this. Is he fit enough? Okay, I'm fit enough, my knee's perfect, I'm ready. And I'm back. Another great week in Italian soccer. 48 goals. More of the action later, but first, this.
Coming up, Fiorentina versus AC Milan. James Richardson gets behind the headlines with this week's news. All 48 goals from Sunday's record-breaking Serie A. We meet an Italian football legend, Gianni Rivera. Win a dream trip to Italy in our World Cup competition. A roundup of midweek cup games. We talk to Lazio's Giuseppe Signori, Serie A's top scorer. Teammate Gazza looks back on another eventful week. And we preview Italy's vital World Cup qualifier with Switzerland.
Hi, I've had a fantastic week this week. Everything's went well. My knee's not a problem. I've had 2 games in 4 days. Everything's went well. 1 victory, 1 draw. But more of that later. Now we have a fabulous match. Plenty of goals. Fiorentina versus Milan.
Well, Milan go Dutch for this game. Rijkaard, Van Basten and Hullitz are the 3 permitted overseas players in this Milan starting 11. It means Hullitz starts his first league match of the season, and there's no place in this team for expensive imports Jean-Pierre Papin or Dejan Savicevic. Fiorentina would have been happy to field the regular central defensive partnership of Gianluca Lupi and Stefano Pioli, but both are suspended, and that could mean Facenda and Vega are overemployed this afternoon, trying to subdue the threats of Milan's cavalier attack. Here's Effenberg. Di Mauro. Orlando. Plenty forward here for Fiorentina. Baiano. Laudrup. Baiano. He scored! Currently on loan to Fiorentina from Milan, and he scores against them. Just a suspicion of offside, but once Baiano had sight of the goal, his true shots beats Antonioli, and Fiorentina have the lead. Clash of heads there between Carnashali and Rijkaard. Here's that incident again. Frank Rijkaard desperately trying to keep the ball in play. Tassotti. Hullitz. Tassotti's cross. Oh, there's the equaliser, and it's Massaro who's got it. Former Fiorentina player returns to the Stadio Comunale and drags Milan back into this game. So here's Rijkaard. Still 1-1 between Fiorentina in the purple and Milan, the Italian champions. Baresi. Albertini. Fiorentina have conceded a lot of space in midfield, and in defence, Lentini. That's 2-1 Milan. You can't afford to sit back and let the Italian champions pass the ball around at will inside the last third of the field. Lentini and Van Basten play that neat 1-2. Then Van Basten wins the ball back for Milan. Rijkaard. Hullitz. Oh, brilliant goal! Hullitz, who's been so disappointed about being left out to the Milan team, now returns with a brilliant strike. Rolled into Baiano. Once again, the Milan defence stays firm. And Milan soon translate defence into attack. Hullitz. Oh, it's getting very easy. Hullitz now scored one and made one. And a goal for Massaro, his second of the game. 3 now for Massaro this season. And the former Fiorentina man is having quite a game. Corner to Fiorentina, who need a goal at the start of this second half. They trail by 4 goals to 1. There's Effenberg, number 7, being marked by Hullitz. Oh, that's a great touch by Laudrup. Great control, great vision too to knock it to the back post. Is it in by Effenberg? A goal for Fiorentina. And quite a scramble going on now in the goal net between Effenberg and Rossi. Effenberg could be in trouble. He wanted to retrieve the ball as quickly as he could, and the referee tells him to calm down. It's hard to calm these Fiorentina players down, mind you. They've just pulled a goal back against Milan through their German international, and now have a 2-goal deficit to make up. Fiorentina have a free kick. Effenberg. Oh, that's a brilliant save by Rossi. Brian Laudrup to take the corner. Oh, and a free header. This time denied by Rossi. Di Mauro could have made it 4-3. What happened to the Milan marking there? Van Basten with oceans of room now. Finding Hullitz. Van Basten to his left. Hullitz goes on his own. Couldn't squeeze it in. Evani. Oh, it came off the underside of the bar. Hullitz. It won't count. The linesman had his flag raised once Hullitz went chasing after that ball, which ricocheted off the underside of the bar from Evani's thunderous drive. Milan have been a little bit more cautious in this second half. They pushed up, they caught Fiorentina in an offside trap 4 or 5 times now. Here's Van Basten. Oh, it's all over now, surely. And Marco Van Basten, who scores goals for fun, found himself 5 yards clear of the Fiorentina defence. And look how he bent that shot wide of Manini's grasp and into the net for number 5. And the match now being played at training ground pace before Milan pick it up again. Van Basten, Hullitz. It's all so easy for Milan. Two for Hullitz now, to add to 2 for Massaro, 1 by Lentini and 1 for Van Basten. 6-2 behind Fiorentina, and they have possession with Effenberg. Laudrup. Effenberg has it. Oh, they have another goal. And the determination of Effenberg opens Milan up, and Di Mauro on hand from close range. to find the targets. I wonder how Milan will look at this scoreline. Grateful that they've scored more goals than Fiorentina, or worried that they've conceded 3. And on more occasions than most, to concede 3 goals will result in a defeat. Not today, though. Tassotti. Hullits. Oh, he thought about the shot. Tassotti is the option wide. Van Basten. That's 7. Smiles all around because they'll be talking about this performance in Florence for months and months. A clinical end to the game from a clinical player. That's finishing at his very best. That's the final kick of the game. 2 goals for Massaro, 2 for Hullits, 2 for Van Basten, 1 for Lentini. Milan hit 7. All that after Fiorentina took the lead.
The rest of the Serie A goals later. But first, James Richardson with a roundup of this week's news.
Last Sunday, the Corriere dello Sport previewed the weekend's action with the invitation to come to Gollywood. And that turned out to be the best guess of the week, because last Sunday was an extraordinary day of action, not just because Lazio won. 48 goals were scored, the most for 61 years, and to commemorate a day that goalkeepers will be a long time forgetting, Tuttosport commissioned their own cartoonist to commemorate each and every one of those 48 goals, from Baggio's at 3:05 to Van Basten's in the 92nd minute. Magical. So why so many goals? Well, blame here is laid at the doors of the new zone defences, the new back-passing rules, and also at the 18 teams in Serie A. Some people say that's too many. Major culprits, however, have to be AC Milan, the Red and Black Devils themselves, with their 10-goal game at Fiorentina. Fiorentina got well and truly worked up before the game, claiming amongst other things that they were the new Red and Blacks. Probably, though, they meant Foggia and not Milan, as on Sunday there was very little resemblance between the 3-goal Fiorentina and the 7-goal champions. This is the old Milan that doesn't betray, and now we seem unbeatable, said Van Basten after the game. The next team to test that theory will be Lazio in 8 days' time, and they finally got on the right track this weekend with a 5-2 win over Parma. Paul Gascoigne's return to form earned equal space in the papers alongside Signori's hat-trick, and he in fact got 7 out of 10 in all 3 of the sports papers here in Italy. Rare praise indeed. Well, David Platt may not have played last Sunday, but with Julio Cesar now out for 4 months with a broken leg, Platt is assured of a regular place in the Juventus side. As you may have expected, there's been a storm of protest here over the Napoli fans' behaviour, but the Brazilian himself, showing a lot more grace than was shown to him, has said that the fans acted as fans do and that he has no wish to judge them. Finally, on to the news that froze Sacchi. Baresi's announcement of his retirement from the Italian national team. As the Gazzetta puts it, rather colourfully, 3 o'clock and for Sacchi the telephone weeps. They go on to speculate over the page about when Baresi will change his mind. However, the player himself is certain that he won't, that his decision is final, and that the Italian national team now have a large hole to fill in their defence. We'll be going up to their training ground next week to see how the players and coach are getting on, so tune in next Saturday to find out what they have to say about the whole affair. However, for now, that's all the time that we have for the news. After the break, a full roundup of Sunday's goals, a report on Gianni Rivera, one of Italy's all-time great players, and a competition with a chance to win that most special of prizes, an international edition of Subusio with the 2 Italian teams of your choice. All in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back. And it was goals galore in a record-breaking Serie A Sunday, as Gary Bloom reports.
27 minutes in, Hagi's corner, Sabao tries to score, Mancini makes it easy for Brescia, and Raducioiu accept Mancini's charity. Mancini was walking a thin tightrope, an accurate pass straight to Saurini of Brescia. And from the resulting corner, Brescia make it 2. Some slack marking here allows Saurini to score. Second half now, and Hagi glides over the pockmarked pitch for an outstanding strike. Hagi'd been doing this for Real Madrid last season. Italian football may be more to his liking than Spanish. Brescia should have made it 4 here. Sabao's cross, Saurini's header, and Skinardi unable to scoop the ball in. On a week when it rained goals, Foggia soon got in the act. Dan Petrescu's cross is powerfully headed in by Costa Rican Hernan Medford. Medford was only playing his second full game for Foggia since joining from Dynamo Zagreb. Now, Billy Smart's circus would have been proud of this goal. Brescia's fourth. Di Bari is the clown at the end of this comedy of errors, helped ably by Mancini. Foggia's defence is going to have to be more efficient than this to last a season in Serie A. Final score, 4-1. Brescia unbeaten at home now in over a year. Cagliari and Red haven't won this season. Roma were unlikely victims of football's equivalent of a mugging. Bushaidu hoisting over the cross, which wasn't effective. This was the best Roma could produce. Rizzitelli with a wild, inaccurate volley. Roma are having problems scoring away from home this season. Yelpo in the Cagliari goal wasn't being much help to them. This is Mihailovic with the free kick. A move of great precision between Oliveira and Herrera opens up Roma here. Oliveira can't make his shot precise though. Oliveira's athleticism was causing Roma problems. Carbone's foul put Roma on red alert. Bushaidu makes it 1-0. It's Bushaidu's first goal in Serie A in 3 seasons. Certainly something worth waiting for. Giannini tried to ignite Roma here, an incisive ball to Hessler, and Caniggia wastefully turns it wide. A brilliant 6-man move here by Cagliari. This one could have been choreographed. Bushaidu is a main protagonist. Oliveira can't score though. Mihailovic was trying to force an equaliser. Meanwhile, at the other end, Francescoli was left cursing his luck. Last week he scored a brilliant free kick. This week it was a different story. Final score 1-0, Cagliari's first win on this ground over Roma in 12 years. Both Genoa in red and Ancona were looking for win number 1 of the season. First goal of the game coming up, Van Schip's cross, and Signorini darts in before the goalkeeper. Genoa in front, 15 minutes in. Signorini is a sweeper who likes to get forward. A minute later, Ancona were level. Signorini, who'd been celebrating just a few seconds earlier, this time deflects Agostini's shot past his own goalkeeper. When it comes to deflected goals, how about this one? Scoravi with a lacklustre shot, but it's given added impetus by Soliano's left shin. Bortolazzi was hoping for a deflection of his own here with this arrow of a free kick. Nista spills the ball and then spills the 4-step rule from his mind. I make it 8 steps in possession. Free kick then. Scoravi takes 2 steps before thundering in the free kick. Ancona's equaliser was a bizarre affair. The goalkeeper dropped the ball, Ruggeri heads it up, Fortunato heads it out, Lascias Tattari knocks it in. Tattari's now scored in every game he's played in this season. Padovano then almost split the bar with this venomous strike. Genoa didn't have to wait long before goal number 4. Scoravi impeded as he climbed for the ball, and he takes the penalty himself. Last 10 minutes now, Ancona make a surprise comeback. First Soliano, who'd scored an own goal in the first half, finds the right net here. And 2 bicycle kicks, or should it be a tandem, produce the equaliser. First substitute Centofanti, then Agostini. Agostini's nickname is the Condor, but how many Condors strike upside down? Final score 4-4. It's the 5th drawn game in a row for Genoa. Atalanta in the white haven't won away from home this season. Inter had the first real opportunity to score here through Bianchi. His shot acrobatically saved by Ferron. Here Agostini crosses, but Schillaci, trying the spectacular, only achieves the ordinary. Schillaci's penalty winning skills need to be sharpened up. Pushed here by Valentini, but no spot kick. Inter did allow Atalanta a rare opportunity to counter-attack. Gans, though, with the ineffective shot. Atalanta certainly made it easier for Inter when Montero, the Uruguayan, was sent off for this deliberate push on Berti. Trying to swap shirts before the game ends is definitely illegal. Well, 10 men Atalanta did cause a few hiccups at the back for Inter. Rambaudi and Gans combine here. Zenga saves. The two players combine to miss this chance for Atalanta. Rambaudi wastefully shoots wide. As Inter chased the game, Schillaci was looking for his first goal at the San Siro this season. Sousa then found Desideri. Desideri found the palms of Ferron. Desideri was deputising for the injured Matthias Sammer. Inter's penalty appeals reached fever pitch as Desideri was manhandled here. 12 minutes from full time. Sousa succeeds with a decisive goal from the penalty spot. Sousa is currently keeping Darko Panchev out of the team. Inter win 1-0. They go fourth in Serie A.
More goals than our competition shortly. But first, Isabella Stasi Castriota meets an Italian football legend who's still making the headlines.
This is the Italian Parliament, Palazzo di Montecitorio. Many things are happening on the Italian political scene at the moment. And at the last elections, personalities from all fields of the Italian society had entered the world of politics. Amongst the 630 Italian MPs, one is a former football player. Gianni Rivera was elected with a large vote, and this proved that the people had never forgotten his unique talent. He is one of Italy's greatest and most famous footballers ever. Rivera started his career in Serie A in 1958 with Alessandria, a team now languishing in Serie C. He was paid a record amount of money for that time and was immediately nicknamed the Golden Boy. But it was with Milan that he became world famous. Between 1960 and 1979, he won 3 Italian championships, 4 Italian cups, and 2 European cups. In 1973, he was top scorer in the Italian league with 17 goals. In 1970, you became a protagonist by scoring the decisive goal of the World Cup in Mexico during the semi-final against Germany. Some say that you had the best 3 days of your life, immediately followed by the worst 3 days, because you were excluded from the final against Brazil. How did you feel?
È stato un momento stranissimo. Io poi l'ho vissuto in modo così contraddittorio perché era un periodo in cui mi sentivo particolarmente bene e addirittura non mi facessero fare la finale col Brasile, che era forse l'unica partita che avrei dovuto giocare senza ombra di dubbi, e quindi il fatto che non mi avessero fatto giocare quella finale credo che fosse più una scelta politica che non tecnica.
He was so much a part of Milanese life that we see him in this archive footage alongside pop singer Ornella Vanoni. Together, they personified the spirit of Milan in the 60s. You left the world of football 13 years ago. It doesn't seem like a long time, and yet the world of football, do you think it has changed a lot?
È cambiato come è cambiata un po' tutta la società. Credo che l'evoluzione sia inevitabile a tutti i livelli, però nell'insieme, nella sostanza, nel cuore di ogni attività rimangono sempre quelle basi fondamentali, quindi il calcio ha alcune caratteristiche che credo che rimarranno finché il calcio esisterà.
Are you still involved in football?
Sono stato inserito nel settore tecnico della federazione calcio, la cosa mi piace e quindi un certo legame col mondo del calcio continuo ad averlo e visto in questo modo penso di potermi riappassionare.
Gianni Rivera was an inside forward with impeccable technique and an ability to dance around defenders at will. He directed play with elegant authority, and commentators of the time regarded him as the footballer who represented the quintessential Italian style.
Ma io credo che fosse un fatto di natura. Ci sono delle doti naturali che qualcuno ha la fortuna di ricevere nel giorno della sua nascita e deve soltanto cercare di non perderle, deve cercare di svilupparle nel modo migliore, di allenarle, ma non ha un altro grande merito, perché sono doti che vengono con la nascita.
The Italian government are deciding how to pay the public debt, but many people are already protesting against the tough measures which have already been taken. Meanwhile, a Christian Democratic MP, Mario Segni, is creating a new political movement to fight corruption and to promote reforms.
What do you enjoy most about your activity as an MP?
È l'unica ragione che mi tiene ancora legato al mondo politico. Diversamente, se non avessi trovato la possibilità di muovermi in un ambiente che punta alle riforme, probabilmente non mi sarei più ripresentato per questa legislatura.
Gianni Rivera has decided to join Mario Segni in this battle. He might find that his swift, elegant, diplomatic manner is as useful inside the Italian parliament as it was on the field.
In midweek, there was third-round action in the Italian Cup. Torino got off to a good start, courtesy of Enzo Scifo. Sordo, then Vieri came close to making it 2. But Bari, relegated from Serie A last season, came back. Capocchiano converted Alessio's cross, and Bari goalkeeper Gentili secured the draw with a brilliant save. Paul Gascoigne was soon tormenting the Cesena keeper Alberto Fontana. First that stinging shot, then a typically powerful piece of control. Leone cleared off the line, but Signori was lurking. Claudio Sclosa protected Lazio's lead with a desperate piece of defending, but Teodorani's up and under caused chaos in the Lazio box, and Lantignotti equalised. Gazzetta was substituted after an hour, and his midfield colleague, Thomas Dole, soon joined him in the changing rooms, thanks to his petulant reaction to that tackle. It finished 1-1. In Turin, a remarkable piece of skill from Roberto Baggio set up a 10th-minute goal for Andy Moore. Genoa's Michele Padovano tested Angelo Peruzzi with a free kick. And in the second half, he tried again. At the other end, Gallia and Baggio conspired to miss this chance for a second goal. Then Muller returned Baggio's earlier favour, but the Juve skipper couldn't add to that one-goal advantage. At the Olympic Stadium, a dreadful mistake by Fiorentina centre-half Gianluca Lupi handed Roma an early lead. Andrea Carnevali the scorer. Misha Mihailovic scored one of the goals of the round, although Manini was at fault. 2-0 to Roma. Shortly afterwards, and Mihailovic was on the mark again. And just 2 minutes later, Carnevali made it 4. But Fiorentina, still smarting from that humiliating home defeat by Milan on Sunday, came back. Stefan Effenberg scored with 10 minutes left, and then converted a penalty after Di Mauro was fouled by his former teammate Giuseppe Giannini. 4-2 to Roma. Jean-Pierre Papin hasn't played a league match since the opening day of the season, so the Milan striker had a point to prove on Wednesday night against Cagliari. He did it in style with 2 goals in a minute. In the second half, Albarigo Evani shook the Cagliari crossbar, but Lentini was on hand to finish off. It ended 3-0, although Frank Rijkaard came within inches of a fourth. At the San Paolo, slack defending from Verona let in Antonio Correco for Napoli's opening goal. But Policano and Galli combined to give Lunini the equaliser. 8 minutes to go and the set piece worked again for Napoli. Fonseca headed home Zola's corner, 2-1. With Foggia and Inter drawing 0-0 and Parma leading Venezia 1-0, all the top teams look well placed for the second leg on Wednesday week. There's more Gaza, more goals and the chance to hear from Lazio Giuseppe Signori after the break. Welcome back. And now our final selection of goals from last Sunday's games.
Juventus in the black and white went in front 5 minutes into the match. Vialli makes a nuisance of himself and Andy Müller sends Baggio in for goal number 1 of the season. The new Juventus captain warming up for Italy's World Cup qualifier against Switzerland next week. Jonas Turn of Napoli helping the ball into Baggio's path. Well, Juventus soon lost Brazilian defender Julio Cesar with a broken shin bone, but their dilemma over which 3 foreign players to choose now seems to be over. After the captain of Juventus had scored, it was a turn of the captain of Napoli to miss. Ferrara goes close. The German international Kohler is beaten by Ferrara's header. Into the second half now, and Zola, roaming creatively in midfield, almost opened up Juventus again. This time Correca heads wide. Correca's been out for the last 2 games through injury. Juventus made it 2-0 just short of the hour mark. Baggio slides an accurate pass wide to Müller, and he makes it 2. It's hard enough to score when you have to dodge the tackles. Juventus players also had to dodge the rain of missiles being thrown from the terraces. Well, inevitably it was Zola who was trying to break down Juventus's stubborn resistance. Peruzzi kept out this shot. Juventus were hoping at this stage to limit Napoli to long-range shooting. Free kick of the week coming up, Gianluca Vialli with this impressive goal. Baggio had left the field at this stage, so Vialli takes over the captain's responsibilities. Tremendous accuracy by Vialli. De Marchi then gifted Napoli a chance to come back into this game 6 minutes from full time. It's he who concedes the free kick. Fonseca scores another outstanding goal. 11 now for the Uruguayan this season. Not long left for Napoli, but they were prepared to push Juventus all the way to the final whistle. Napoli's incessant pressure paid off 2 minutes later when number 6 Corradini supplies the cross. Fonseca's thumping drive is saved by Peruzzi, and Zola makes it 3-2. It was Zola's second goal of the season, and it gave Napoli hope of an equaliser. Napoli thought they'd won a penalty right at the death when Mauro, a former Juventus player, tried to convince everybody he'd been fouled. The extravagant dive gave away the player's intentions. Final score 3-2, Juventus unbeaten now in 12 Serie A games. Torino in the red are unbeaten at home since September '91, but they went behind to Sampdoria after 14 minutes. Tremendous three-man move here by Torino, who snatched back an equaliser. Annoni, Aguilera and Silenza are the three wise men. Watch out how Aguilera's touch completely wrong foots Des Walker. Sampdoria's Marco Lana sends this header into the puddles. Lombardo sends this volley onto the crossbar. A rare mistake by Des Walker gives Torino a chance to take a 2-1 lead just after the hour mark. His uncertain header straight into the path of Aguilera, whose accurate shot beats the goalkeeper. As the rain increased, so too did the Torino pressure. Schifo's shot easily saved. Pagliuca was fed up with getting wet inside his own penalty area, so why not to walk up to the halfway line? Then Lombardo's shot was far too close to the goalkeeper, Marco Gianni. Sampdoria pressed for the equaliser. Bertorelli, the substitute, should have brought the goalkeeper into the action here. Sampdoria left it late to snatch the equaliser a minute from full time when Viekovod struck accurately home. Viekovod has made a reputation of going forward to look for late goals. He did it again here. Enzo Schifo tried to convince the referee he'd been fouled by Jugovic. All he received, though, was a wet shirt and a damp reception from the official. Final score, 2-2. Torino miss out on the chance to go clear at the top. This was only the second ever meeting of the teams in Udine, and the home side locked onto the fast forward button from the off. 8 minutes in, Udinese hit the front. Balbo to Branca, and it's 1-0. Branca's in his third spell at Udinese, but he proves to be a popular player. Borgonovo equalised for Pescara 14 minutes later. Former Fiorentina player gets his third goal in 2 games. 10 minutes later, Udinese, playing in what appears to be a ploughed field, plough through again. Rosito's cross and Balbo makes it 2-1. The Argentine international was to have quite a game. Rosito sets up Balbo's second just before the hour. Delano's then fouled by Johnny Sieverbeck, the former Manchester United player. And Balbo had a chance to register the only other hat-trick of the day. 4-1 now. BV of Pescara then wins his side a penalty. BV takes a 9-iron to the penalty kick. It's his first goal in Serie A in 6 years. Udinese score goals for fun. Pellegrini's cross, Branca nearly bursts the ball with a volley, and Maniconi breaks Pescara's hearts with that accurate finish. Final score 5-2, so Udinese climb to mid-table after 3 consecutive defeats. Paul Gascoigne started his second game for Lazio at home to Parma in yellow at the Olympic Stadium in Rome. Gazza was soon in the thick of the action. Taffarel sending Gazza sprawling. Penalty to Lazio. Signori sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Melli then put through by Ozio, almost embarrassed Lazio here. Pizzi must have heard about Lazio's porous defence, but no goal. An object lesson in dribbling coming up by Fuser. Why pass the ball when you can do this? Fuser leaves 4 men in his wake. And how about that for a midfield player who gets his fair share of goals? Ozio was given 2 chances to score by the Lazio defence. If you don't succeed, try again. Ossio scored last week against Brescia. Now he was putting pressure on Lazio. They've been having problems with the back pass rule in Italy too. Taffarel has to handle the ball to save a certain goal. And the free kick is blasted in by Signori. It's his 6th goal of the season. The Parma goalkeeper, the Brazilian Taffarel, will be disappointed with this effort to keep out the shot from Fusar. Fusar hits it in hope. Taffarel's ordinary save was described as hopeless. Ossio was mounting a one-man crusade to keep the Italian Cup winners in this match. Once again, Lazio's charitable defence was handing out cheap goals. Just after the hour mark, and with the game all but won, Gascoigne takes a breather. Lazio respond by winning their second penalty. Signori fouled by Menotti. Signori makes it 5-2 from the penalty spot, his second spot kick of the game. Signori can make them as well as take them, here setting up Bacci. And one last flourish. Thomas Doll almost set up goal number 4 for Signori here, right at the death of the game. Final score 5-2 to Lazio. Lazio's first win after 4 draws.
That left the top of the table looking like this. Milan leading despite playing a game less than most of their rivals, while Lazio move up to 5th. Gazzetta might be dominating the headlines in Italy, but another Lazio star has earned the title of Serie A's Capo Cannonieri. James Richardson reports on Italy's top goalscorer, Giuseppe Signori.
3:30 in the afternoon, and it's time for training at Lazio's Maestrelli Sports Complex in Rome. For the team's new arrivals, this is fast becoming a second home, but nobody is settling in quicker than Beppe Signori.
Has kept it in. Signori!
Giuseppe Signori is 25 years old, young, free and single, and the rising star of Italian football. He was born in the little village of Villa di Sera, just outside of Bergamo in the north of Italy. But like most players in this country, he had to head south to find his fortune. And find it he did, in a town called Foggia.
Signori spent 3 years at that club, playing alongside the likes of Baiano, Rambaudi and Shalamov, and quickly earning Foggia its first trip to Serie A for 12 years. There last season they were one of Italy's most spectacular sides, scoring 58 goals and finishing 9th in the division, a place ahead of Lazio.
Sì, forse nessuno se l'aspettava, per cui siamo state la rivelazione di dello scorso campionato. Così avevamo un ottimo allenatore che è Zeman, dove così ci ha dato quella voglia di vincere, quella voglia di far bene a noi giovani che venivamo dalla Serie B.
Sì, con Beppe abbiamo passato 2 anni meravigliosi lì a Foggia. Mi fa piacere che abbia raggiunto la nazionale perché se lo meritava veramente.
With Foggia's stars all up for sale at the end of last season, the offers for Signori came from the likes of Parma, Inter Milan and Lazio. Lazio were especially eager. They just lost their number 1 scorer, Ruben Sosa, to Inter Milan. And for many, their ability to compete this season hinged on finding a replacement fast. Despite the expectations, Signori had no hesitation in signing for the Rome club.
No, io sono arrivato qua così, consapevole che andavo incontro a un'eredità molto pesante, però non ho mai avuto paura perché avevo fatto questa scelta consapevole delle mie forze.
There's not much talk of Sosa anymore at Maestrelli. Signori is already halfway to the Uruguayan's figure of 14 goals for last season, and there's still another 29 matches to go. Nobody seems surprised, though, by Signori's explosive form.
È un attaccante completo, anche se magari la statura non gli permette di essere molto efficace sui colpi di testa perché è piccolo, però uno che si muove molto, rapido, buona tecnica, buon tiro, sa muoversi molto bene, io direi che è molto completo. Però io direi che magari quel centimetro in meno in altezza la sfrutta molto bene nella rapidità.
È un giocatore molto veloce, gran tiro, è un giocatore molto pericoloso.
If we have 10 chances, from the 10 he makes 7 or 8 and it's good for a good player.
Signori's in form this year and he seems to be getting better with every game. In last Sunday's match against Parma, he claimed his first ever hat-trick. 2 goals he scored from penalties, the other from a more unusual opportunity.
Sì, adesso con le nuove regole che non si può più fare il passaggio dietro il portiere, così c'è stato un retropassaggio del difensore, il portiere l'ha preso con le mani e ha dato punizione 2 in area, dove si è schierata tutta la squadra avversaria sulla linea di porta. Io ho calciato forte e mi è andata bene che si è spostato uno sulla linea e la palla è entrata.
With 7 goals in the first 5 games, Signori is now alone atop the goal-scoring charts, ahead of the likes of Batistuta and Fonseca, and a goal ahead of the regular number 1 bomber, Marco van Basten.
Fa piacere essere dopo 5 giornate a 7 gol, però Van Basten ha già dimostrato l'anno scorso che è stato capocannoniere qua in Italia, che è un ottimo goleador, per cui credo che la classifica la vinca ancora lui.
Comparisons with Van Basten make Signori uneasy, but after his success this year, they're almost inevitable. He's now Lazio's most feared forward, one of Italy's elite, with a place in the national team to prove it. And even if he's not planning on replacing Van Basten as the league's top bomber, he does have other ambitions.
Far bene, essere una nazionale italiana e portare la Lazio più in alto. Adesso vorrei essere in vacanza ai Maldive. È questa ambizione in questo momento. Sì, specie oggi con questo tempo.
On Wednesday, the Italian national side faced their most important game since 1990's World Cup semi-final. Schillaci and co came close to the ultimate trial. 2 years on, Italy, having failed to make the European Championship finals, faced a free-scoring Swiss side in their opening World Cup qualifier. A win is vital. The ex-Milan coach Arrigo Sacchi was brought in last season to turn things around. Like England's Graham Taylor, he's finding it tough. Sacchi's biggest problem is in defence. Franco Baresi, the greatest sweeper in the world, has recently retired from the international game, which means Milan teammate Paolo Maldini, a natural fullback, seems likely to continue in the centre of defence. Sacchi may have to rely on all-out attack. His beleaguered defence was cruelly exposed by Holland in a recent friendly. 2 early goals gave the Dutch a formidable lead, but the most expensive forward line in the world pulled things around. Now the pressure is on for Baggio, Lentini and the new captain Gianni. Most of all for Arrigo Sacchi. Quite a week for Sacchi, and quite a week too for Gazzetta.
Hi everyone back home, good to see you up nice and early to watch my show. I hope you're enjoying it, everything seems to be going well this end. I've had quite a busy week this week, with the game being on Sunday, everything really well for us. I lasted about 65 minutes and then I ran out of fuel. I always said I'd be better when I come back from these injuries than I was before, and I seem to be proving myself right. On Tuesday night we went to Cesena for the cup match. It was okay, the lads were stayed. I played about with a few lobsters. They had live lobsters in a tank, and some of the lads were sitting outside, and I took the lobster out of the tank and put it on his back. Didn't seem too happy. Wednesday morning we all got ready. I went out, I found a fireworks shop, sell fireworks, and one of the lads was sleeping through the afternoon. I threw a firework in his room. He woke up. And now here I am, all ready, fit, ready to go for England. Got my passport, as you can see. Brutal picture, brutal. But I have my passport all ready. Well, I'm off to England now, see the guys, have a bit of mixing with them and have a laugh and score more goals past David Seaman if he's there. Very ugly, David Seaman, very ugly. I've been at the game a long time. I've thought to just laid back and everything, you know, when I've come to work, I've worked and then just laid back and everything. And now I'm starting to knuckle down to business and work really hard, you know. And it's just good to be back, like I said, as a player and now a supporter. I didn't have to prove nothing to Graham Taylor, I just have to show him my football fitness, you know. But I wanted to prove to myself how fit I was, you know. The last 2 years ago I'd done that, the test, you know, I was got to number 14 or something and I'd done 15 there. So it is good, you know. I would love to play. like anybody else in the squad, you know, wants to play. I'm just the same as them, you know, but it's just because, you know, me, myself, I've been out a long time, that they're talking about it. It'd be nice to play, but if I don't play, then that's okay. I just have to show grim till me fitness till the next game. If I do play, then I'll be giving everything I've got. You know, even if I am 70% fit, then I will give 70% of fitness. You know, when you start thinking World Cup and you think, oh, I hope it's going to be like the last time and hopefully win, you know. We had a fabulous time. It's just important that we stick together as a squad. It's important Graham Taylor has us for a week. But the most important thing, like I said before, is that we stick together, because when we won the World Cup and the guys who didn't play, they were marvellous, you know, they were behind the players all the time, you know, come on. And then when we got back to the hotel, no one had the sulks, and we were together as a squad, and it was really good.
And that's it for today. We're all back here with Gazzetta Football Italia next Saturday, with international action and a special preview of next Sunday's Milan-Lazio match. That's Fulham versus Gazzetta.